What's up, guys? It's your boys Wookie back at it with another crime video of Nichol Kessinger and what she doesn't want you to see. Where she is apparently now, because apparently I've been getting messages from quite a few people stating that they're pretty sure they found her. But we're going to be taking a look at things that she doesn't want us to see in the Chris Watts documentary, The Reporter Room, Part 1. So if you guys are ready and want to see this, I suggest, before we go any further, is subscribe by hitting that white bar icon down at the bottom right. Hit the bell icon next to it so I do post videos like this one. You'll get that little ring notification that's Wookie myself has posted that video. And you guys can watch, comment, like, and share. And again, thank you guys so very much for the continued support that you guys are showing. We're booming by the numbers, and I can't wait to see what the future holds. But with that being said, I want to get into this nitty gritty. I will definitely tell you at the end. Apparently, we found her Facebook page. I'm not going to give you her name for it's not necessarily respect purposes. It's for safety purposes. I don't want people blowing up her page or vice versa, whatever have you. But I still want to keep it respectful on here, even though it's not my partake to do this to get her into trouble. But we're bringing the information to light so that officers, detectives, and legal gets involved hopefully one day and brings her to justice. That's not my partake. So with that being said, we're going to take a look at the YouTube channel Reporter Room. So this is not my content. I just want to be reacting to it of what we might have not seen. There's more stuff and more stuff and more stuff we see every single day when it comes to this case, and more that we see, the more and more it's 100%, 500%, 1000% that she was involved some shape or form in these murders. So that being said, let's take a look at this video.
You're pretty serious. Did he ever tell you that he loved you?
Yes, he did.
Did you ever tell him the same?
A couple times.
Now, we're standing that today because those thoughts may have changed for you. But on, let's go Sunday into Monday or Monday, did you still love him on those days?
I think it was something where it was like I said it a few times and I meant it, but he definitely felt the urge to say it to me a lot more than I did to him.
Because us guys do that.
It was just all very new to me, and it was like, take your time with this. Like, you don't need to like rush that, you know? Like, I remember when he was in North Carolina and he was like trying to patch things up with his wife, and he told me he loved me, and I was like, don't say that to me. Like, please go try to fit. And I mean, and that might even be in the text too, where it's like, don't say those words to me and then go try to make peace with your wife and lay in bed with another woman. Like,
I feel like I'm getting slapped in the face by audio.
Welcome to Reporter Room, where we seek truth and justice. My name is Jessica Della Davies.
Hi, Jessica.
I'm an investigative journalist, and today we're going to discuss 5 shady things about Chris Watts' mistress, Nichol Kessinger.
A lot.
We're also going to discuss neighbor Nate's video that purports to show NK at the house. We're going to talk about whether or not NK displays narcissistic personality traits.
100%.
And the bombshell that Chris Watts was going to name his son after NK. At the beginning of the case, I wasn't sure about NK, and I don't believe that she's just a victim anymore. She's portrayed herself to be a victim to police in all of her interviews. But she was not just a coworker that ended up having an affair. And I believe she may have known about Chris Watts prior to meeting him.
Yep.
In other words, I want to know, was she stalking Chris or Shanann Watts?
Yep.
I also believe she knew Chris Watts was married.
Yep.
And everything I'm sharing with you today is my opinion, and
Exactly.
opinions are not facts, so please do not send any negativity to anyone, anytime, anywhere.
Exactly.
Let's be kind to each other. Before we go any further, please subscribe and give this video a thumbs up to help Reporter Room grow. You're also welcome to join our channel members, who are Sonia Stenger, Rianne Evans, Justice for All, and Queen Mob. And don't forget to join me on Wednesdays for Killer Coffee and Crime Chat, live stream at 6 p.m. New York time. It's every Wednesday, so put on your PJs, grab some snacks and coffee, and let's chat. So I still
Let's do
haven't
it.
found any evidence that NK had anything to do with what happened to Shanann, Bella, Celeste, and Nico. But I hope law
We have.
enforcement continues to investigate this further. So NK is a smart and calculating woman. She reportedly graduated from Colorado State University, from which she graduated in 2013 with a bachelor's degree in geology. She also has an associate degree in geosciences.
Which is the study of
She
rocks.
began her career working as a bookkeeper and worked her way up into the position of geology engineer. So do we think that NK targeted Chris and Shanann as evidenced by her 2017 Facebook search?
I think she targeted Chris. She wanted Chris. She wanted to get rid of Shanann and the kids and start anew. That's my opinion.
And was she planning an insurance fraud scheme that morphed into an affair and then a plan to help Chris eliminate his family so the two of them could be together and collect the insurance
Called
money?
divorce.
We also want to know, was NK a narcissist?
Yes.
Many people with narcissistic personality disorder are preoccupied with their own success, and they have a grandiose sense of self-importance that influences their decision-making and their interactions with other people.
Apparently she's bipolar.
Narcissists also find it difficult to maintain or build connections with other people because they're manipulative and they lack empathy. They often feel entitled and show no compassion.
It sounds like
Yet
her.
they crave attention and admiration.
She did pretty much all that in that interview. She didn't want eyes on her. She wanted eyes on her when it was up to her. She didn't say anything bad when it came to the girls or Shanann when it came to having remorse that she caused this. I'm going to tell you right now, Chris and her caused the deaths of these girls and baby Nico. She is all involved with Chris. Chris might have done most of the physical stuff, but there's still stuff that she did as well.
I'm not diagnosing anyone. I'm just asking important questions that are relevant to this case. NK claimed in law enforcement interview that when she met Chris Watts at work in May or June of 2018, she says she was, quote, unaware that he was married because
Lie.
he didn't wear a wedding ring around her. This is nonsense because NK was Googling Chris Watts and Shanann Watts prior to meeting Chris at work.
Lie
And
number
Shanann is
752.
an unusual name, so this wouldn't have just been an accident. Law enforcement.
They literally said, I know I'm stopping in between, I do apologize, but they literally said that it was a typo that she had written in the search bar for Google a year before. How do you typo Shanann Watts and Chris Watts? How do you typo that? Just saying.
Enforcement found multiple searches, including as early as August 3rd in 2017, which is almost a whole year before she claims that she spoke to Chris Watts for the first time, and months before she met him at Anadarko. So, did NK get a job at Anadarko because she wanted to figure out a way to enter Chris Watts' life? Was she obsessed with Chris and or
Yes.
Shanann Watts? On August 13th of 2018, Chris's pregnant wife, Shanann, and two daughters supposedly disappeared, and NK claims that Chris eventually mentioned his wife and children, but she says that she thought Shanann and Chris were separated. She says she discovered Chris was married when watching a news report about his missing wife and children. This is nonsense because Shanann Watts' Facebook page was set to public. So we know that she was looking up Shanann as early as 2017.
She
And
knew
this is such
everything.
an unusual name, so it couldn't have just been purely coincidence. NK also claims she discovered Shanann was pregnant through the news report, but again, this is nonsense because we know that Shanann had multiple videos sharing the fact that she was pregnant set to public on her page. Computer records show that NK frequented Shanann's Facebook page, where she announced her pregnancy, made frequent updates about her
She
family,
was pissed.
and no one looking at Shanann's Facebook page would say, "Oh, she must be coming to the conclusion of her marriage, and this must be the middle of a mutual
No divorce.
as NK claims to believe." Also, in Chris Watts's initial emails with NK, she tells him she wants to have a life like what he has with his wife and daughters. She also searched, quote, "man I'm having an affair with says he will leave his wife along with wedding dresses." So she knew he was married. What creeps me out the most about NK was that she told detectives that she said that Chris Watts was told by her to go and work on his marriage when he went to meet Shanann in North Carolina.
No mistress said ever.
But during the time that he was in North Carolina, NK proceeded to send him salacious photos of herself the entire time he was gone. So Chris met NK at Anadarko Petroleum, and this just happens to be the same place that Chris returned to hide the bodies of his wife and children. As a safety officer, NK would have known tons of information about the sites that Chris worked at, including that Survey 19 was the perfect site to possibly commit insurance fraud. And this would require the kind of explosion that would destroy bodies and evidence. Is this why Chris had a gas can in the back of his...
How much you want to bet with them being there, they were planning on blowing this place up? Could that be another possibility? That they were in the tanks and on the ground because they wanted to blow them up for a possibility and never have... That's a whole nother thing that I never even thought about. That's opinion and theory. I'm not saying that's what it did, but with her saying what she said, could that be a possibility that they put them in there because of oil, explosives, highly flammable? Just saying.
His truck. Did he run out of time due to Shanann Watts's...
I think he ran out of time. I know I'm stopping. I do apologize. Because he literally, that morning, if it wasn't Nicole Atkinson, Shanann's best friend, if she would have never said anything, he probably would have had a lot more time to discreetly put things away, discreetly hide things, get rid of evidence, and possibly blow this place up. Could that be it? Hoy. Just saying.
Flight delay from Arizona, and he wasn't able to complete his plan. The first time NK claimed she felt anything was off about Chris was the night of Shanann's disappearance. Before Shanann got home from her business trip, Chris and NK FaceTimed.
Had a
Chris was
111-minute
supposedly
phone call.
lying on his bare mattress, and since it was late at night, NK says that she thought this was strange. And when the bodies of the victims were recovered, Shanann was wrapped in a bed sheet. So the phone call that she had the night before Shanann was reported missing and the night Shanann was murdered was 111 minutes long. And NK was not able to tell law enforcement what she talked about with Chris Watts during this call, even though she was interviewed less than 72 hours later.
You can't tell me?
NK also says that Chris Watts appeared to be, quote, too casual about his missing family. And she contacted police and told them that they were having an affair. However, police were already informed about the affair from a supervisor at Anadarko Petroleum, so more likely she was tipped off that police knew and wanted to get out in front of this whole thing. NK was super shady. She deleted texts, photos, tried to destroy her SIM card, and purportedly told Chris to do the same thing. Her excuse to law enforcement about deleting all of this pertinent information was, quote, I was just kind of grossed out by him. I didn't know what's going on right now. You lied to me and I don't want to see this stuff come over my phone again. So I removed it.
But
I
then she
deleted
told
all this
him-
stuff because he lied to me. It was the hurt that made me delete it. Do you buy her
No,
story?
I buy none of it.
Even though there was no specific evidence tying NK to what happened on August 13th, 2018, many people took her behavior during the law enforcement interviews and perceive her to be shady. In the interview, she comes off as arrogant and self-centered. She appears to be devoid of any empathy. And this has
Narcissistic.
convinced many people that she may have been involved in what happened to
Sociopath.
Shanann and the girls. And this was evidenced by her callous text to Chris to, quote, pawn
On the ring.
Shanann's wedding ring. Narcissists tend to crave admiration, and they are preoccupied with life, power, and success. They believe the world owes them, and they are willing to exploit other people to get what they want. They lack empathy toward others, and Nicole's willingness to pawn Shanann's wedding ring after she knew Shanann was
Dead.
gone was callous and cold-hearted. NK has no alibi for the time of the murders.
She has none.
We also know she clocked out on the day that Shanann was reported missing, but she didn't clock in that day. So what time did NK arrive at Anadarko?
And her phone pinged at the location where the Watts family home was.
The day Shanann was reported missing. Even though NK claims she didn't know Chris Watts was married, law enforcement discovered all the deleted searches for wedding dress
Poppycock.
shopping, along with phrases like, quote, marrying your mistress, and, quote, man I'm having an affair with says he will leave his wife, in her Google search history. A narcissist is easily identified because they tend to be insensitive to the needs of others and always thirsty for attention. Is this why NK was sending Chris provocative images of herself when she supposedly wanted him to have space in North Carolina to work on his marriage?
What a joke.
And the morning of the murders, neighbor Betty saw a truck similar to the one NK owned out
Where hers was brown or gray, his was brown. They said they saw a gray pickup in the back of the house, and the brown truck was in the front, which was Chris's.
outside the Watts home. This could be a coincidence, but it needs to be considered.
It needs to be
let's
investigated.
Look at 5 super shady actions by NK. 1. We know that the time Chris was disposing of his entire family,
6:16.
NK's phone pinged at a cell phone tower in Frederick, Colorado, where the Watts family home was. NK lived 25 minutes away. This is suspicious in light of the fact that she tried to destroy her SIM card before giving her phone to investigators. It's suspicious in light of the fact that she deleted her texts and photos of Chris,
Which is a
and
felony
her
in
search
itself.
history shows she was searching to find out if police would be able to read her deleted text messages.
Which they can.
2. Phone records show that NK and Chris were in close contact the night before, the morning of, and the day after what happened to Shanann, Bella, Cece, and Nico. 3. Chris told law enforcement he first tried to subdue Shanann to cause a miscarriage with Oxycontin. The police have still not established how or where he got this, as it has
I
not
think Nicole did.
ever been prescribed to Chris. He said where it came from is a, quote, secret he will take to
The
his grave. 4. NK was Googling how much Amber Fry's net worth was.
Wanna make
Amber
some
Fry
money.
was the mistress of Scott Peterson. However, she didn't know Scott Peterson was married, unlike NK. Scott Peterson was convicted of murdering his pregnant wife, Lacey Peterson. Again, this shows a callous,
No
self-centered
remorse.
person. Because Shanann and the 2 little girls were missing. And NK, she was busy figuring out how she could cash in on the tragedy. 5. The night Shanann got home from her business trip to Arizona, Chris and NK FaceTimed and had a 111-minute phone conversation. A phone conversation NK claims
That they
she
don't
cannot
remember.
remember. She says she doesn't know what they talked about. This was only 72 hours before she was questioned by law enforcement, and the call was
Lies.
111 minutes long. She wants us to believe that she does not remember what they talked about during this phone call.
Poppycock.
Are you buying that?
Nope. Absolutely
NK
not.
also told law enforcement that she thought it was strange that Chris said the girl's sheets smelled and he had to wash them. Do you think NK had an inkling of what Chris was about to do? Is she a victim or is she part of this whole thing?
Part of it.
And do you think she gave Chris an ultimatum?
Yes.
I looked at the garage video purporting to show a woman with a ponytail exiting the Watts home, but I couldn't make out anything that definitively says it's NK. It's just too grainy, and maybe technology in the future will allow us a closer look. And remember, there is no statute of limitations on murder in the United States. The other thing that's odd is that NK's name is Nichol Kessinger. And Shanann and Chris's baby was to be named
Nico
Lee. Was Chris going to name his newborn son after his mistress? Or
He said Shanann came up with it, but I don't know.
is this a coincidence? Because Nico Lee and Nichol Lee sound very similar, don't they?
Yes. It's too coincidence.
So do you think NK was another Chris Watts victim, or do you think she knew what was going to happen and maybe even played a role in it?
Played a role.
After Chris was sentenced, NK said that she was sure he was guilty beyond doubt. She said, quote, "He's a liar. He lied about everything. If he was able to lie to me and hide something that big, what else was he lying about?" Chris made a plea with prosecutors and entered a guilty plea for the murder of Shanann and his children in court. He subsequently received 5 life sentences without the possibility of parole.
He's trying to get out, so.
So what happened to NK? After her affair with Chris became public, she was fired from Anadarko.
Thank God.
She additionally said that she fears she will never have a normal life or be able to find employment
due
to the scandal. NK was dragged for having an affair with a married man, and she told law enforcement, quote, "I would not be surprised if it's going to be hard to go out in public sometimes for a couple of years." We know she changed her name and hasn't been seen since 2018. So
she
is
has
NK
apparently
a narcissist? Narcissists are willing to exploit other people, to take advantage of other people in order to achieve their own needs. They lack empathy and are unable to identify with the needs of other people. Because of their feelings of emptiness, they're often envious of other people's accomplishments and possessions. Do you think she became obsessed with Shanann and or Chris Watts prior to her job at Anadarko? Did she insert herself into Chris Watts' life? Please subscribe and leave me a comment. Thanks for watching.
I think this woman did a fantastic job in making it sweet and to the point. I have no doubt about it that Nichol was involved. Also, speaking of the stuff that I wanted to show you guys, if we take a look here and the stuff. Now, we don't know for 100% if this is completely her. It looks very much so. A lot of people have stated that it's her and so forth like that. So I can't say for a certainty that it is her. But everybody that's been posting this to me has stated. Now, if we take a look at this, this is apparently this person's page. But if you take a look at it, it says, "Never regret anything because at one time it was exactly what you wanted." That's kind of weird. But then if you blow this up, it says, "Only blank Satan understands." The woman looks very familiar, and this is what apparently she might be looking like now. Could be somebody that looks just like her. I'm not quite sure, but people say that this Arvada is very close by to this Colorado. I'm gonna look it up right now. So the funny thing is this person's YouTube page, you guys can see right here, Arvada, California, or Colorado, is 35 minutes away from Frederick, Colorado, where the Watts home was. Is this a coincidence? Is this her? I'm not quite sure. A lot of people stated that she left Colorado, but this woman right here looks oddly very, very familiar as to Nichol Kessinger. But again, that is for you to decide. So make sure you guys are commenting your guys' thoughts down below. Let me know if your thoughts on this. If you guys are new or have been here for quite a while, let me know in the comments of your position and theories on Nicole Atkinson, aka, or not Nicole Atkinson, Nichol Kessinger, or this new girl. I'm not going to mention her names because I don't want you guys blowing up her Facebook or anything like that. Because we don't know for 100% certainty. Make sure you guys subscribe because it helps out the channel immensely when you guys do so, including hitting that like button. And we will see you guys in the next video. So keep it real, keep it safe, and as always, keep nerding on, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.